Media.
That's right. That's
Go
right.
Belt Media.
All right. So,
Coming in loud and clear.
how you going? My name is Nigel Chambers. We're at Otakon 2024, the 30th year anniversary.
We definitely
Peter,
are.
Thank you so much for coming.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I've now known your colleagues now for 2 years, so because this is your first year.
My first one. They were here last year.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm the bearer of good news. What happens here is that once you come, right, and you sign in blood, right, you have to continue to come every year. So
I'm hoping so.
Hopefully everything has been well for you. I expect to see you back next year, the year after that.
I mean, I'd love to come, yeah. I'm Otakon all the way now. Otakon all the way. And put it in my diary each year. Yeah, well, look, if they ask me back, I'll be back in a heartbeat. It's been great.
So here's the thing, and I don't know if you've ever just sat back and just thought about it for a minute, but being a part of one of the most iconic video game IPs in Final Fantasy, obviously with your work and continued work in 14, if you looked across the room at your other colleagues, you see people here in celebration of 7. Although it's still a remake, it comes back to 7 iterations ago.
Yeah.
So 7 years, it's not more than 7 years, but 7 different generations of this game. We're still celebrating it.
Yeah.
Which means if you do the math, that means when 21 comes out, we'll still be celebrating 14 here.
Yeah.
Have you sat and thought about like how this job that you've done, fandom, family, community, is going to grow into something that's never going to end?
Yeah, sort of relatively recently, I learned a fair bit about 14, the technology of 14, and how it's slightly different to other video games in that it's kind of just alive and just ever present. Like if you want to dip into it, it goes on without you. Yeah. Whereas other games, you're physically, I'm going to talk a bit old school, but you take it off a shelf, you put it in a machine, you turn it on.
I'm right with you.
Yeah, but with 14, it's like it's just in the ether. Like people can just hop in, hop out, and it will continue and continue. Because it's that online thing, which is something we didn't really realize when you first started. Because it doesn't affect the way you record anything voice-wise, but that's kind of amazing to think that, and how it will, like, say, I'm not saying this will happen, please don't let this happen, but say they stopped 14 today. It doesn't, it would matter to all of us, but there would still be thousands of people just starting at a Realm Reborn, and so they've got like thousands of hours of game, and so it just keeps going and keeps going and keeps, a bit like, I'm going to get this wrong, am I? Was it 10? Which was the last online?
11.
Was it 11? It's 11. Sorry, excuse me, 11. It's like 11. It's still going. There's still people playing it.
Yeah.
It's still going. It's still going. It's still going.
Yeah.
And then, there's, like, we met a few of the guys from 7, which is slightly different, but it's had, the rebirth and all that. So even if it's not an online game, you can still have it a few years later. They're like, let's bring it back. Yeah. It's that popular.
Again, I as a fan, we're going to be satisfied forever. And I think this is one of the very few IPs that no one has ever had a bit of outrage of end it. Because even
absolutely.
We as superhero fans, even that we get fatigued. No one has ever said stop the Final Fantasy.
No, I know, and it keeps on growing, and it keeps on going and growing. And now with Dawntrail, there's a whole other elaboration, introduction of new characters. Not that anyone's tired of the Scions, but it's been great because it's sort of, you do something as massive as Endwalker, and you're sort of bringing what was it, like a 10-year story to sort of not a conclusion, but to like a natural point in time. And so what do you do next? You sort of, embark upon a fresh journey and bring new characters in. And they're exciting characters. I think it's a bright future for Final Fantasy, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the fans, community, the workers, you will forever have a job. I've been running this joke today. I'm not sure if you've seen Deadpool Wolverine, but Ryan Reynolds made the joke to Hugh Jackman of, to your 90. I think he was speaking to a lot of folks, including you right now when it comes down to the work. When you go into now Dawntrail now, was there now, because at this point now, this franchise and the characters, it like the back of your hand. Is there an extra bit of prepping your step, should I say, in terms of your deliverance?
It's different every time because also like life, whenever the recording comes, it just depends. It's like how you fall out of bed in the morning, but on a bigger scale, like, you know, for instance, this time for Dawntrail, I was in the theatre at the time we were recording. So I was doing a play, and that affects your being. It affects your voice, how much you're using it or not using it. And I feel like, you know, because we're so lucky to be voicing one character for this long. And so through all these iterations and the different expansions and games, you get to hear like a whole human. Because like sometimes it might be a touch more gravelly, a touch more empathetic, a touch more, and that, you know, and that all goes into your voice recording. Like we can't help but be a little bit like our characters now. Because if you can play a character for 10 years, there's going to be a little bit of you in it. And there probably was from the start. I mean, I'm not quite as cool as Thancred, but you know, there's got to be a tiny bit in there. Dad cred. I'm more dad cred than Thancred.
Being here, having a panel, the array of cosplays here, no matter what Final Fantasy is, like, have you had a moment to sort of sit back and sort of pinch yourself of everything that's going on around you?
Every time we walk from place to place, because I'm hoping now, well, definitely now, I'll have the afternoon to sort of soak it up a bit more because we've done, you know, quite a few panels. We've been at the tables meeting the players, the fans and everything, which has been amazing. But I was just saying on the way here, I never get tired of seeing the most incredible cosplay, but when they're just doing a mundane thing. You're like, it's nothing better than seeing like a massive cosplay, just like having some chips. Sending some text messages. And outside, hailing a cab. Like, you know, they're the best. Or just going up the escalators. I love when there's a whole line of amazing cosplayers on the escalators. But they are, man, they're incredible. The artist side of this community as a whole, you know, they're so talented. I love all that side. It's fantastic.
Is it your first time in DC?
Yeah, first time in DC.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you got to do any exploring yet?
Yeah, because I came in a day early. I'm not going to lie, it was hot. But I hired, I got, you know, tap me little scooters. So I took a scooter out and, you know, tour guided myself around the big bits. Yeah. And then I went out a bit further. I went to, what's it called, like Georgetown and. Yeah, did some like cool little shops there, and then I, you know, knocked on the White House door and all that, and popped to the Lincoln Memorial.
They might have let you in. I was talking to a few of the Japanese voice actors, and they said they got the tour inside. I don't know how you all cleared that quick, but
yeah, I did it. I gave it a. This is Thancred. Open up. I know you're in there. No, but it's great. I had a lovely day.
Any food?
Oh, the food's good, isn't it? The food's really good. I went to Chinatown because that was just there near where we're staying. Got some incredible dumplings. And I'm looking forward. I'm here for a couple of days after, so I'm going to soak it up, put a few pounds on.
Hey, you can't go wrong there. So it is the 30th anniversary of Otakon. This is one of my favorite cons, very close to me. It continues to just elevate each and every year. And I mean, this year, the guests, the guests that came here, so diverse. Whether you're a bit Square Enix fan, because Square Enix folks come here, the multitudes of different Final Fantasy cast members, so many folks from Japan. Just being in this community amongst your colleagues here and others, what's been those emotions to really stand amongst this elite crowd of folks?
It's been incredible. Too. Totally incredible. And massive kudos to Otakon because they run a brilliant festival here. It's so friendly. And also it feels like there's time to really chat to people, meet people. I just didn't meet, I must have met who knows how many thousand people, but they've just been relentlessly positive and nice and happy. Everyone seems to be having a good time. Everyone wants everyone else to have a good time. And also, we just feel a bit, I have to keep pinching myself that I'm not on the other side of the panels because I want to watch all these panels. I was saying just before these interviews, I was looking at the guide of all the stuff I've missed. I'm like, I want to see all that. It must be, for anyone who's, you know, got indecision problems, it must be an absolute nightmare to try and choose where to be. But then, you know, saying that though, sometimes the journey, you know, that old adage about the journey is more important than the destination. Wandering through Otakon Doesn't matter if you miss panels, because that is life right there. It's incredible out there. Yeah.
Everybody's experience is different, but everybody has a good time. And you're entirely right. Sometimes it does get logistically frustrating in terms of can't be in at two places.
Well, yeah, but that's that's first world problem.
Yes.
Yeah, that's that's great. Yeah.
Another question I wanted to ask you. There's been a lot of discussion recently in terms of AI and the use of voice acting, and you all and everybody's, the fans, we come to these conventions because we want to see the faces behind the voices, behind the characters that we love. And AI, while there is some positives to it in other natures, has become a little bit of a threat in the voice acting community. What's sort of your thoughts about AI right now?
Well, look, I'm the same as I think probably 100% of the voice acting community, and I think a lot of the players and people is in that it's exactly that. Like, we do need, of course, you need human voices, but there is room for technology. There always has been in every industry. I mean, when I was a kid, I remember that massive boom of, when it was all things were being computer generated, and everyone thought it was like the end of film as we knew it. But of course, yes, everyone started using it relentlessly for a bit, but then it sort of modulated, and we realized that you can be symbiotic. Like, there's room to augment what is already there, but it doesn't need to be replaced. Maybe technology, I'm sure there's more technology than I know about, definitely, but I don't think you can replace a human. It's I think we sort of empathize with a certain emotion that sort of strikes into something that can't be made. So I'm hoping it'll continue.
And I think the fans, I mean, we understand, especially with how much 14 has grown. We've seen everyone's performances just grow and better. And as you mentioned, these characters become a little bit of you and a little bit of and them a little vice versa. And there's nothing I can duplicate that. We feel that, and that's why we continue to spend the money. We continue to show up because
thank you. I appreciate that.
We need you all, and we appreciate you all for all you've done, especially during the time of the pandemic, which you got to go back to a little bit as well. Has the recording process now has grown to be a little bit more organic now because you get to do some recordings with some of your colleagues, or are you still kind of isolated due to the nature of the character? Yeah,
you sort of. Well, I think I might be wrong. I think some of the 16 guys did get to record some bits together, and I think that might be part of the future of voice recording, in that we get in the same room with each other. Because I think that's always one of the things that blows people away when you do panels and you say, we never met.
Right.
We didn't meet that person for 7 years. And they're like, what, the person you're in love with in the game? But that's just not how it works. But that becomes an art in itself, and sometimes you get good at hearing their voice, or if it's vice versa and you're the first one to record that duologue, they are going off you and there's a different energy. But there's something kind of beautiful about that as well, and all hats off to the technical side, like the sound engineers and all the devs, and that's an art form in itself. That we're just supplying the tools for that, really.
Because the world, because NDAs and such exist in the world, so we either give winks or we just give a little bit of excitement of what's to come. Can you talk about any of your projects, whether they're personal projects or anything related to the game, that we may be able to wink at or be excited for, we need to be looking out for?
Well, look, I've done a couple of filming things recently, which I absolutely cannot talk about, but they're, one of them I'm just playing a relatively small part, but it's a really exciting project, and it's something I was a fan of, so that was fun to do. That's a bit sci-fi, so it's sort of in that world. And, I mean, look, Thancred, watch this space. He's not going anywhere.
I genuinely really deeply appreciate the time today. I don't say goodbyes here because, as I told you, I'm the walking manifestation beacon of see you later. So
sayonara. Should we say that instead?
Noted. So with that being said, I'll see you back in a year. We'll talk some more. Maybe we could talk a little bit more about those projects.
I hope so, man. Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
I really appreciate the time and all the work you've done.
Thank you for that. It's been a real pleasure. Thanks a lot.
Take care.
See you next time. See you next year.
See you next year.
Yes.